Breaking news. The Department for Work and Pensions has just announced major changes that could affect millions of people across the UK. If you're a pensioner, a carer, a veteran, or someone who relies on benefits such as the state pension, pension credit, attendance allowance, DLA, carer's allowance, or even universal credit, please stay with me for the next few minutes. The latest DWP update includes new details about this year's winter fuel payment, as well as changes coming to universal credit that could make a real difference to your household income. These are the kinds of updates that can quietly change your payments, your eligibility, or even how and when money reaches your account. Before it's too late, make sure you know what's happening, because by the end of this update, you'll understand exactly how this affects you and what you need to do to make sure you don't miss out. The question is simple. Will these new changes help you, or could you be left out of pocket? Now, before we break this down, let me just say, this channel stands with you. We know times have been hard. Whether you're living on your state pension, juggling bills with universal credit, helping to care for a loved one, or doing your best to stretch every pound, we see you. This channel is for the people who built this country, who worked through thick and thin, who looked after neighbors and families when times were tough. We believe in honesty, in facts, and in making complex updates simple. We're not here to cause panic. We're here to support you with truth and clarity. If you find our updates helpful, please consider subscribing. It's completely free and ensures you stay informed every time the DWP, HMRC, or local councils announce changes that could impact you directly. So, let's get to it. The DWP has confirmed that the winter fuel payment, the annual lifeline that helps millions of older households heat their homes through the coldest months, is being reinstated in full for most pensioners this winter, after months of confusion and concern. At the same time, there are new rules being introduced for universal credit claimants, including lower deduction rates, adjusted payment timings, and clearer guidance on what counts as income. These changes come amid one of the most difficult winters in years, with energy prices still high, supermarket bills rising, and local travel costs, like bus and rail fares, increasing yet again. It's all part of the government's cost of living response. But it means a lot of people are asking, what does this actually mean for me? Let's step back for a second. Why are we seeing these changes now? For years, older households have been at the center of the cost of living crisis. Many of you have told us that despite small increases to the state pension and benefit uprating, it hasn't been enough to keep up with inflation. Heating bills have remained stubbornly high, groceries more expensive, and those little extras, like bus fares, prescriptions, and local services, keep creeping upward. The DWP faced intense pressure after last winter, when many pensioners discovered that the winter fuel payment had been restricted to those on pension credit or other means-tested benefits. Thousands of people who had relied on it for years were suddenly excluded, forced to make impossible choices between heating and food. That decision was heavily criticized, and after a series of parliamentary debates and media campaigns, the government has now confirmed a reversal. The winter fuel payment is being restored for around 9 million pensioners across England and Wales, with only higher income households, those earning above £35,000, potentially seeing a clawback through the tax system. Imagine this. It's late November. The frost has started to appear on your windows, and you've just put the kettle on to make a cup of tea. You're checking the post, wondering how you'll manage the next gas bill. Then, out of the blue, a letter arrives from the DWP confirming that your winter fuel payment is coming. And it's automatic. No applications, no forms, no stress. For many, that letter is a lifeline. It means warmth, safety, and dignity. And for others, it's a reminder of just how important these small payments can be. The difference between a warm home and a cold night. That's why this update matters so much. But that's not all. At the same time, changes to universal credit are being rolled out, and while these might not sound dramatic, they could make a real difference for those still struggling each month. Up until April this year, deductions from universal credit for things like overpayments, loans, or advance repayments could be as high as 25% of your standard allowance. That meant a quarter of your benefit could be taken away before it even reached your account. The DWP has now confirmed that these deductions are being reduced to a maximum of 15%. It might not sound like much, but for someone living on £368 a month, that's nearly £40 back in their pocket every month, enough for extra food, heating, or essentials. The DWP says this move is about protecting low-income families and ensuring fair repayment rates. It's also part of a wider effort to simplify the universal credit system ahead of the upcoming Universal Credit Act 2025, which will gradually merge certain benefits and slightly increase standard allowances from April next year. Now let's break down the winter fuel payment in detail. If you were born on or before the 22nd of September 1959 and you live in England or Wales, you will be eligible for a winter fuel payment for the winter of 2025 to 2026. The amount you receive depends on your age and living situation. Most people will receive £200 if the oldest person in the household is under 80, or £300 if the oldest person is 80 or over. The payment is usually made automatically in November or December and goes directly into your bank account. You don't need to apply if you're already receiving the state pension or certain benefits. The DWP will handle it for you. However, if you've never received it before, for example, if you deferred your state pension or recently moved back to the UK, you may need to contact the Winter Fuel Payment Centre to confirm your eligibility. There is one important note. If your taxable income is above £35,000, you may still receive the payment, but HMRC may reclaim it through the tax system. This ensures that support is focused on those who need it most. For those living in Scotland, things are slightly different. The Scottish Government runs its own version called the Pension Age Winter Heating Payment, which is a one-off annual payment designed to replace the traditional winter fuel payment. The amount is usually similar, around £300, and it's paid automatically to those who qualify through Social Security Scotland. If you live in Northern Ireland, payments are managed by the Northern Ireland Social Security Agency and follow similar rules to those in England and Wales. In all cases, the key message is this. Check your details, make sure your bank account is up to date, and be alert to scams. The DWP has warned that fraudsters are taking advantage of this news by sending fake messages claiming you need to apply or update your details. The DWP will never send a text asking for your bank information. If you get one, delete it immediately or report it to Action Fraud. Now, about those universal credit changes. For anyone receiving universal credit, and that includes some people of working age, carers, or those with disabilities, payment timings may shift slightly in November as the DWP aligns the calendar for certain bank holidays. If your payment normally falls on a weekend or holiday, it may arrive earlier than usual. Always check your online account for confirmation. More importantly, the lower deduction cap means a fairer deal. The DWP has said that no household should be left struggling because of overrepayment. If you've taken out a budgeting advance or had an overpayment in the past, the new 15% cap applies automatically. You don't need to do anything. It's part of a wider reform that also includes plans to link universal credit to inflation more consistently in 2026 and to improve communication with claimants, particularly older carers who also receive elements of universal credit alongside attendance allowance or carer's allowance. Let's use an analogy to make this clearer. Think of the winter fuel payment like a bus pass for your home's energy costs. For many years, everyone over pension age automatically got that pass. Then suddenly, the government limited the route. Fewer stops, fewer passengers. Now they're opening the route again so more pensioners can ride, but there's a ticket check. If your income is above £35,000, you might have to give a little back. Similarly, universal credit has been like managing a weekly shop when the cashier keeps taking out 25% of your groceries before you leave the till. From now on, they'll only take 15%. It's still not perfect, but it's fairer. And it means you can walk out with a bit more in your basket. So, what should you do right now? First, check your date of birth and make sure you fall within the qualifying week for the winter fuel payment. Second, if your household income is around that £35,000 mark, be mindful that part of your payment could be taxed back. Third, check your DWP and HMRC records, especially if you've recently moved or changed banks. Delayed payments often come down to old information on file. Fourth, if you're receiving universal credit, log into your account and check your deduction section. You should see that 15% cap reflected automatically, but it's always good to confirm. Fifth, and most importantly, if you know someone older who might not be aware of these updates, a neighbor, a friend from your local club, someone you see at the bus stop, please tell them. A simple conversation can make sure they don't miss a payment they're entitled to. You might be thinking, it's just one payment, how much difference can it make? But for many, it's huge. That £200 or £300 could cover nearly half a winter's heating bills or take the pressure off when Christmas comes around. It's not just money, it's peace of mind. And combined with the changes to universal credit deductions, it could mean slightly more stability each month for those still struggling to stay afloat. Let's also take a moment to address something important. There's no shame in claiming benefits or needing help. The system was designed to protect people who have worked, cared, and contributed all their lives. Teachers, nurses, factory workers, veterans, carers, you've done your bit, and now it's the country's turn to make sure you're looked after. If you're feeling embarrassed or worried about asking for help, please don't. You're not alone. Millions of people are in the same situation, and there is support available. As we move into another uncertain winter, remember this: you are not forgotten. You deserve warmth, dignity, and security. These payments and adjustments are there for a reason, to make sure you can live safely and comfortably without having to constantly worry about the next bill. Keep informed, stay vigilant for scams, and don't be afraid to reach out for advice. You can visit the official gov.uk website for verified information, or contact Citizens Advice if you're unsure about your eligibility. There are also local councils and charities across the UK offering energy advice and emergency grants if you're struggling right now. And finally, as always, take care of yourself and your loved ones. Check on your neighbors, make sure the heating's safe, and don't let pride stop you from getting what you're entitled to. You've earned it. These DWP updates, from the winter fuel payment to the universal credit changes, are designed to ease the burden a little, to help you keep the lights on and the home warm through what could be another challenging winter. If this update helped you understand the changes or eased your worries, please consider subscribing to this channel. We'll keep bringing you honest, simple explanations of every DWP update, every senior benefit, every universal credit change, and every new support measure that matters to you. No noise, no confusion, just the facts that affect your life. Take care, stay warm, and remember, you're not alone. We stand with you.